Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes your kindness becomes your weakness. When you please everyone, you lose yourself. Respect is earned by setting boundaries, not by sacrificing your self-worth. Choose dignity over approval. Being overly friendly may seem like a virtue on the surface, but in reality, it can open the door for others to take advantage of you in ways you may not even notice at first. When you constantly prioritize making everyone happy, you risk putting your own needs, feelings, and boundaries at the very bottom of your priorities. People may begin to assume that you are always available, always willing, and always agreeable. And this can lead to a cycle where your kindness is no longer seen as a gift, but as something to be exploited. Over time, this pattern can erode your mental health, leaving you feeling drained, unappreciated, and even resentful. Though you may not understand exactly how it happened, boundaries are not walls that block love or compassion. They are shields that protect your self-worth and help you maintain emotional balance. Without them, relationships can become one-sided, with you constantly giving and rarely receiving. It's important to understand that saying no does not make you selfish or rude. It makes you human, with your own needs and limits. When you create clear boundaries, you teach others how to treat you, and you remind yourself that your value is not determined by how much you do for others or how agreeable you are in every situation. Healthy relationships require mutual respect, and that respect is built when both sides recognize and honor each other's limits. Protecting your mental and emotional well-being is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom, because it allows you to continue showing kindness without losing yourself in the process. If you allow everyone to cross your lines, you eventually become invisible in your own life, and your voice starts to fade until you hardly recognize yourself anymore. Being friendly should come from a place of confidence and self-respect, not from fear of rejection or a desperate need to be liked. It's about giving without draining yourself, loving without losing yourself, and helping without harming yourself. When you know where to draw the line, you keep your energy safe and your identity intact, and you give people the chance to appreciate your generosity as something rare and valuable, rather than something they can always expect or demand. This creates space for genuine connections, where your kindness is reciprocated and your presence is truly respected, not taken for granted. By guarding your emotional energy and protecting your boundaries, you are not closing yourself off from the world. You are simply making sure that your relationships are built on a foundation of equality, trust, and mutual care, rather than dependency, imbalance, or silent exploitation. True respect begins with how you see and value yourself, before you expect it from others. When you constantly seek approval, you hand over the power to define your worth to people who may not even understand or appreciate your true self. This constant pursuit of validation can leave you trapped in a cycle where your self-esteem depends entirely on others' opinions, making you vulnerable to disappointment, manipulation, and emotional exhaustion. Valuing yourself first means recognizing your strengths, acknowledging your flaws without shame, and knowing that you deserve to be treated with dignity, regardless of how much you do for someone else. It means setting boundaries, not to push people away, but to protect your inner peace and maintain your sense of identity. When you no longer rely on others to tell you who you are, you start to operate from a place of confidence rather than insecurity. You become less afraid of rejection because your self-worth is no longer tied to being accepted by everyone. And this gives you a quiet, unshakable strength that others naturally respect. People are drawn to those who stand firmly in their own truth, who don't compromise their values just to fit in, and who are not afraid to walk away from situations or relationships that diminish their dignity. This is not arrogance, it is self-respect, and it is the foundation of all healthy, balanced connection. When you carry yourself with self-respect, you send a silent but powerful message about how you expect to be treated, and those who cannot honor that will naturally distance themselves, leaving room for those who can. Seeking approval often leads to bending yourself into shapes that please others, but valuing yourself allows you to stand tall in your own shape, without apology. It helps you attract people who see your worth, without you having to prove it repeatedly. Over time, this shift transforms the way you interact with the world. You stop trying to earn respect and instead start living in a way that commands it effortlessly. You learn that your energy is precious and that not everyone deserves equal access to it. You begin to notice that the more you respect yourself, the less tolerance you have for situations that drain you or undermine your well-being. In this way, valuing yourself first doesn't make you distant or unkind. It makes you intentional about where and how you invest your time, attention, and care. It is a declaration that you will no longer trade your dignity for temporary approval or compromise your happiness just to avoid disappointing someone else. By putting your self-respect at the center of your life, you create a natural filter that keeps out relationships built on dependency, fear, or manipulation, and leaves space only for those built on mutual admiration, trust, and genuine. In the end, knowing your worth and setting boundaries is not about being cold or distant, but about protecting your heart and preserving your dignity. When you stop overextending yourself for approval, you create space for respect, balance, and relationships that truly value who you are.